A top 25 battle with Alabama over the weekend. And for more on the Sooners, we welcome into the broadcast Alexis De La Garza.
Hey guys, these Sooners have been ranked in the top 25 every single week of the season so far, and they started off their season with 7 straight wins, a program record, and they had a strong start to conference play with wins against LSU and Texas A&M. They are coming off back-to-back conference series weekend losses, but make no mistake, this is a strong Oklahoma team with a solid pitching staff. They have a team ERA of 3.95, ranking them in the top 25 nationally, even after losing their weekend rotation from last year to the draft, but they're kind of used to rebuilding. They've had to rebuild their staff 4 of the last 5 years. How did they do it? All starts with Skip Johnson, one of the best pitching minds in the game, and also happens to be our guy, Tyler Johnson's old man. Guys?
Yeah, it is Tyler Johnson, that first base box tonight, reunited with his father. It's another beautiful night for baseball in Dallas. Starting lineups and first pitch between DBU and Oklahoma is just around the corner. Very little wind, about 5 miles per hour out of the east. We get ready for the Patriots and the Sooners. Here is Skip Johnson's starting lineup for Oklahoma, a team that's hitting .298 as a club. They're averaging 7 runs a game. It starts at the top of the order with Camden Johnson. He's a speedster if he gets on base. 19 stolen bases, leads the club. Then it's Jackson Willits, a star, leads the team with a .323 average. Then it's Gamble. Brock is in the cleanup spot. Nolan Stevens in left. Dayton LaChance gets the nod behind home plate. Then it's Dayton Taki at first base, Dickerson, and then Walk at third base winds up the order for Oklahoma. And Aiden Vandehatter will be the starting pitcher tonight for DBU to face that 9 for Oklahoma, and Vandehatter making his second start of his young career.
Yeah, the redshirt sophomore, originally out of Ohio. He stands 6'3", 210 pounds. Numbers look like this for Vandehatter this season, as Reagan mentioned, making just his second start. It's his 11th appearance overall, the 0-1 record, the ERA just above 6, but really good walk to strikeout numbers, 21 of them in just 13 1/3. You can see just over 14 strikeouts per 9 innings. For Vandehatter, he's got the sinking fastball, the cutter, the sweeper, as well as the changeup, and second straight start against a team from Oklahoma for Aiden Vandehatter. And behind Vandehatter here this afternoon and into this evening, here is the lineup today. A little bit different in the outfield as Landon Underhill gets the nod once again in left field. Schlegel and Martin, that's been your center fielder and right fielder for the last month or so. Krause and Neville on the left side, keeping Grady back in that starting lineup at second with Ben Tryon at first, and a battery of Adam Burkholt and Aiden Vandehatter. His name has bothered me all year long.
You're going to get it.
I'm going to get it one of these days, but Aiden Vandehatter, to hope you pitch better than I'm talking right now.
Let's take a look at this all-time series between DBU and Oklahoma. You know, Oklahoma leads the series 27-20. The first meeting goes back to DBU's NAIA days back in 1978. But how about what DBU's done in recent history? Because that graphic there doesn't really tell the full story.
Well, DBU became a Division I program in 2004, and since that time, the Patriots actually have a 20-14 advantage, but it gets even more significant. These two teams met in the 2011 regional, and DBU winning that opening game. Since then, 18-7 is DBU's record against Oklahoma. Now, Oklahoma trying for the series sweep as they got the 2-0 win last month in Oklahoma, but recent history has really been in the favor of the Patriots.
And DBU's dominated at home as well, 8-2 all-time against Oklahoma in Dallas in that Division I era. So here we go. Vandehatter to face Camden Johnson, junior second baseman who's hitting at .291. It's an Oklahoma team that if they can get on base, they can cause all sorts of problems. 75 stolen bases as a team, second most in the SEC. Patriots like to run as well. It's a Patriots ball club that's stolen 50 bags. They're super efficient, 50 of 56. So that could be in play for both these teams tonight. Vandehatter working from behind at 2-0. Four-man umpire crew tonight. Joe Harris has the plate. Doug Williams at first. John Brammer at second. John Wolf, a veteran umpire, down the line at third. Camden Johnson, whose batting average had been north of 300 until he went 0 for 5 on Sunday in their loss to Alabama.
Man,
close pitch.
A couple of them have been pretty close, but tough start.
What's up, Dougie? Doug.
2-1 to Johnson. Got him out in front with that off-speed offer. 82 might tell you the sweeper from Vandehatter. Facing Camden Johnson, transfer from Wichita State.
They've got the count at 2-2, and it's not been corrected.
That ball in the air to right center field. Schlegel is there. There's one gone. I'm with you. I thought it was initially 2-0, and then it would have been 3-0, but then all of a sudden it was 2-1. That's what the video board showed, the graphic there. Nonetheless, he's out. There's one gone.
Yeah, there was no correction from our home plate umpire, Joe Harris.
I was looking up 2-1.
I was, just as shocked, I guess, as you were.
He signaled 2-1, so we were going with it. Here's Jackson Willits. A bouncer to Grady on a couple of hops. Willits gone on one pitch.
Well, I like the 2-1 count better than the 3-0 count. And for Hayden Vandy Hattert, fell behind early, but able to battle back, get the fly out, then a quick ground out. And it's always important to get out to that good start. You want to see if Vandy Hattert can get himself rolling after a tough outing out of the bullpen over the weekend.
And he was so good against Oklahoma State last Tuesday in his start. 2 2/3, the 1 run, 4 punch outs. The Patriots controlled that game. They had the lead into the 6th inning, and they gave up 6 runs in the 6th, and it spiraled from them. Lost 14-5 to the Cowboys last Tuesday.
And unfortunately, it's back-to-back weeks. Vandy Hattert's not missing by much. I guess that one is called. It was a late strike.
It's a late strike call from Joe Harris.
But
better be locked in.
Without a doubt.
This is Trey Gamble. On a line to left. Underhill, that's going to go off the wall. Double for Gamble, his 5th of the year. Underhill started to his left, turned back to his right, tried to leap and make that catch. So the Sooners have got a runner at second here with 2 out.
Yeah, Underhill, not a whole lot he could do. It kind of ended up being hit right at him, not to the left or right, so he ends up going straight back, and he knows he's going to get the ricochet one way or the other, so he might as well go after it, because even if he plays it off the wall, he's going to end up seeing Gamble get to second base. So he makes the right decision. Maybe he just got back a little bit too far, and even though he couldn't find the baseball, no harm done. There's no extra base given.
Chance for the Sooners here with a runner at second. Brendan Brock, junior out of Mascoutah, Illinois, drafted by the Milwaukee Brewers in the 14th round after his sophomore year at Southwestern Illinois Community College. He was the region's player of the year last season. He had .462 last year, the junior college ranks. Finds himself in the heart of this order for the Sooners. Struggling here lately, though, just hitting a .163 over the last 11 games. Vandy Hattert trying to find a way to pitch around the 2-out double from Gamble. It's going to find a hole. Being waved around Gamble. Here comes Underhill with a throw. It's going to be offline. That's going to allow Brock to move up a bag to second. So it's a 2-out single for Brock. He moves to second on the throw. And it's 1-0 Oklahoma.
You can't really fault Underhill for wanting to come up and fire, but a situation there, I don't think he's going to have a chance. The runner and the throw was really offline as well. So you give up that extra 90 feet. And this Oklahoma offense, they're averaging 7 runs per game, but a quick 2-out uprising, back-to-back base hits after Vandy Hattert got quickly the first 2 outs of the inning.
Great swing by Brock. He went down and got that pitch. Not a bad pitch at all by Vandy Hattert. Strike to Nolan Stevens. It's a team-leading 32nd RBI for Brock. Stevens, the number 5 hitter for Oklahoma. Hitting at .260 for the junior. Transfer from Mississippi State. Ben Tryon, going to be a race to the bag, and Benny beats him there to end the inning. Oklahoma does get a run, though. They do it on 2 hits. All started with that 2-out double from Gamble. Keaton Grady will get things going for the Patriots. Hit his first home run of the season on Saturday. It'll be Grady to lead it off for the Pats when we return. Bottom of the first, take a look at DBU's starting lineup, brought to you by Higginbotham. Grady at second base, Luke Pettit. Look at the numbers there at the bottom of the screen. 8 home runs, 56 at-bats for Pettit. He has been red hot. He's only making his 14th start of the year. And amongst the team leaders offensively, then it's Krause, Tryon, Martins. A lot of power there in the heart of the order. Schlegel in center field, Underhill in left. Neville second on the team in hitting. Neville at shortstop, batting at .343 than Bergholt, the catcher. But on the mound tonight, have a homecoming today for Michael Catalano, the sophomore from Frisco.
At a Frisco high school, 6 foot, 200 pounds, and he's making his 4th start of the year and his 3rd straight as the midweek starter for Oklahoma. 2-2, an ERA at .519. Good walk to strikeout, just like Vandy had it with the 21 strikeouts and 17 in the 3rd. And just the 5 walks for Catalano. He features a 5-pitch mix. It's a fastball that'll get up into the low to mid-90s, slider, curveball, cutter, as well as a changeup. He's been spotted a 1-0 lead as he takes the mound here in the bottom of the 1st.
It's a Patriot team looking for a signature midweek win. The best one that DBU's had is a victory over Texas Tech back on March 17th. Lost to Oklahoma a month ago, 2-0 up in Norman. Dropped a pair of games to Oklahoma State and also lost to TCU. So got a big crowd here tonight at the ballpark. Getting Grady to start things off, showing bunt, and takes strike 1. Grady, an all-region selection last year, hasn't had quite the start to the year, the first half of the year that he anticipated. Batting average, it's under 300. He hit .366 last year to lead the team. Switch hitter. Grounds that one into left field and a base hit, and a good start for DBU. Hopefully that average is on the rise. It's a good sign for Keaton to start things in the 1st.
And he's got a fastball. See it there on the outside part of the plate, up in the zone, and Keeter goes the other way. And, you know, this is the spot that I think Patriot fans expected Keeter to be all year long, leading off and getting on for you to start a ball game. And Dan likes to break up the season in chunks, and maybe we can start turning the page and see Keeter get back to what he was at the end of last season.
Luke Pettit now at the plate, riding a 5-game hit streak. And Pettit goes the other way with it pretty well to right center field. Brock chasing it, he's there. Pettit trying to do what he did last Tuesday against Oklahoma State on the first pitch that he saw. And Luke went to left field with that one. Tonight he goes to right center field. He has so much pull side power. Rare that we've seen him go opposite field. That's a good swing right there from Luke.
Well, and the numbers would tell you if he does somehow hit that down the line, it's going to get out at 102. It goes 363 feet. He was trying to set the table for this man, Chayton Krause. 1 away from 200.
Take a look at that list right there. Those are the only players to do it in 3 years. He is in some elite company. He's also trying to become just the 4th player in program history with 200 career hits and 40 home runs. He's 2 home runs shy of 40. His last one came back on March 20th against Delaware. So he's been in a bit of a power slide. The other 3 Patriots to accomplish that feat, Jason Curzan, Austin Listy, and Duncan McAlpine, some of the top sluggers all time at DBU baseball history. At the knees and a strike called, 1-1.
2 of those guys had the home run crown at one point in their career. McAlpine taking it from, or excuse me, Listy taking it from McAlpine.
All-time leader now, Grant Jays in the Seattle Mariners organization. Grady takes off, ground ball shot into the hole, and there's career hit number 200. Chayton Krause joins that distinguished list that we just looked at. He's done a whole lot of that during his career. Junior, the senior transfer from Grayson College. He grew up in Coppell, born in the Netherlands. What a journey he's had, and career hit number 200 there.
From our vantage point, had a good eye on Keaton Grady, and you could see what he's thinking. He slowed down a second because he wasn't sure if that ball was going to get through. If he doesn't slow down, maybe he tries to go to 3rd, but elects to play it safely and just move up the 90 feet.
Ben Tryon has reached safely in 10 straight. Finds himself in the cleanup spot tonight. Benny's batted all over the top of the order. We saw him in the leadoff role for almost 2 weeks. Now back in his customary, either in the 3 spot or number 4 tonight in the cleanup role. He's finding a home at first base. We've also seen quite a bit of time in the outfield. Here he shoots this one, just foul, says John Wolf. Down the line at 3rd and maybe a foot or so away from getting over the bag down the line. There it is, 200 for Chayton Krause. Just the 7th Patriot to do that in 3 years. Well, there's some big time hitters on that one.
Keep climbing that list, Jake.
Right. Interesting to see where he ends up. He gets hits in bunches. This pitch high and away. You look back, Chayton Krause had 88 hits his first year as a Patriot, 75 last year. That was his 37th of the season this year. Here's Tryon, the junior from South Lake. He's kind of just getting started with his career. Did not see much time as a true freshman. Cracked the starting lineups. This one's rolled foul. Last year, it was a tale of two seasons for Ben Tryon. He was hitting just, it was 053. It was one for his first 19 on April the 12th, and then he hit 412 over the next 15 games. And Benny can go through spurts, kind of like Chayton Krause, where he's as hot as any hitter in the lineup.
He will still have those hot stretches, and I think the thing with Benny is when that floor hits, it's not quite what it had been in previous years, and that just proof to how much he's been working. He's not as hot as he was early on in the year, but he's still well over 300. He's got the 6 doubles and the 7 home runs and still coming up in big moments. So I think that next spurt could be coming for Benny.
I think his greatest attribute, when we talk about the hit tool that he has, his hustle is off the charts. We saw that on display in Kennesaw this past weekend. Guy who regularly he'll turn a single, what looks to be an innocuous single, into a double. He had a hustle play this past weekend in Kennesaw on a chopper up the line that looked like just a routine put out. The first baseman was easily going to beat him to the bag, and Benny beat him there. And it was pretty shocking. It was one of those that you almost go down to write it down, and then you look up and like, oh my, he's going to beat that out.
And if I'm not mistaken, there was just a slight hesitation from the pitcher on the mound, and if Benny doesn't come out of the box like that, then he's not going to be able to get there and beat the first baseman. He's also improving over there at first. He made a huge play over the weekend that ended up saving maybe a couple of bases.
Dan Hefner always talks about, the development is the buzzword around this program, and Ben Tryon is the poster child for that. Patriots always thinking double steal with runners at first and second, but this one's going to find a gap into left field, and it's station to station. DBU's got him loaded. Well, they didn't do this to Michael Catalano back on March 3rd when he worked 2 scoreless innings. Patriots had all sorts of difficulties finding barrels. Right now, they've got him loaded for Ryan Martin.
Yeah, and that's actually the weakest hit ball of the inning. Goes off of handle of the bat almost, but Tryon able to muscle it out there, and the only out was a ball hit 102 miles an hour deep to right center field from Luke Pettit. So the Patriots having much more success against Catalano than what they had, as you talk about, in Oklahoma.
Dangerous hitter with the bases loaded, and Ryan Martin, second on the team in home runs with 10. He's got a patient eye. This guy who's smashed the ball no matter where he's played. He's had double-digit home runs all 3 years of his college career. He hit 43 over 2 seasons at Georgia Highlands College. He's originally from Marietta, Georgia, so it was a homecoming last weekend for Ryan. He grew up about 10 minutes from the Kennesaw State campus. Had 3 guys that were back kind of home. Dylan Cupp had been the regular for the Patriots at shortstop from Cedartown, about an hour away from Kennesaw. Big cut and a miss, 2-1. Landon Underhill also growing up in Georgia.
And Marty here, like almost a backup slider that he was trying to do some damage with.
Still has the count in his favor, the 2-1. Could this be a pair? Oklahoma may get out of this, and they do. On a 6-4-3 double play, Catalano dances around a bases-loaded situation with just 1 out. Great work from the young sophomore. So 3 hits for the Pats, and they strand a pair. We're going to the second. Oklahoma on top 1-0. Was the team's closer coming off an injury, did not come back until the final week of the regular season. You might think if he was healthy on the mound, you might be looking at a finalist for the John Olerud Award, two-way player of the year.
If he pitched like he had in his first 2 years and then was swinging it like this, there's no question. And you think about when those hits came, and you saw both of them. He had a huge double late in game 1, a home run that gave you some breathing room in the 9th inning of game number 2. And he is putting fear in opponents. Really has for the last month or so.
6, 7, and 8 here for Oklahoma, starting with Dayton LaChance, junior from Quebec. Guy that played for DBU's Tyler Johnson. Patriots now recruiting coordinator, and of course the son of Skip Johnson, Oklahoma's head coach. Tyler's just grown up in a dugout with his father, Skip. We saw Skip, I think the first time we ever saw Skip Johnson in a game against DBU was probably right here, 2015 regional, when he was the pitching coach at Texas. The chance sprays this one down the line. Long run and foul.
Still go back to, almost 10 years ago now when that change happened. And it's the ultimate sin, right? Texas to Oklahoma, but boy, over the last 4 years, you're getting them to Omaha in 2022 and have been in a regional final 2 of the last 3 years after that. Oklahoma, they were synonymous with college baseball at a little bit of a lull, but they've been right back in the thick of things over the last 4 years or so with Skip Johnson.
Got off to such a great start this year. There's a bullet through the hole. A chance with a single. Well, they kind of took it on the chin down in Austin 2 weeks ago. Dropped 2 of 3 to Alabama. When you're running the gauntlet of the SEC, it's as though you're playing in Omaha every weekend. This is a team that very looks the part of a regional type squad. So the chance gets on to start the second.
They beat A&M and LSU to start conference play. They were 19-5 after that series win against LSU. But that sweep at the hands of Texas and then losing a series against Alabama last week. Not going to get a much tougher schedule than that back-to-back weeks, and that's what it is in the SEC.
So, Tucker!
Tryon's got it first. They have a chance here to cut down the lead runner. Very close on the turn there to first base. It always starts with a good throw. Benny put it right on the money. To Grady at second, they almost turned that.
Yeah, that's not always the easiest throw, too, and you got LaChance, who's a big body that you've got to throw around, but a lot of patience here from Tryon. Doesn't rush it and ends up throwing a perfect ball to Cooper Neville, and I'm with you. I didn't think there was a huge chance. It's going to be a really good angle, too, of what Tryon had to do, and you can see how perfect that throw was, but I didn't think Neville was going to have a chance. It ended up being pretty close at first base.
Talk about the work that Ben Tryon's done at first base. That's a play right there that's not easy.
And that's a hard one to replicate. It's a hard one to practice. And these guys are just baseball players, instinctual. And, yeah, nice throw around the runner, right on the money.
Taki's not a threat to go. Stolen 2 bags, and there's a hit. Batter Drew Dickerson. This is what has plagued this Patriot pitching staff. That is their 67th hit batter on the season.
Came in top 10 in the nation in that category, and that might have gotten both the batter and Dickerson and then our home plate umpire and Joe Harris at the foot, and then bounced up and might have gotten the left side of that mask of Joe Harris.
Jason Walk at the plate. He's making just his 3rd start at third base. He's regularly been the team's center fielder. That's a rare move. See a guy go from center field, and he's been the center fielder the last 3 seasons during his time at Oklahoma. He's had a down year offensively. His best year came 3 seasons ago. A freshman hit 281. This year his average has been south of 250 since February 25th. Comes in batting 230 tonight. Vandy Hatter could use a punch out here. Walk has struck out 28 times. 2nd most on the team. Vandy Hattert's 1-2. Down and away, tried that outside corner.
And it wasn't going to be a prototypical start line for Vandy Hattert. He already does have some action in the pin behind him. It's Russ Smith who's warming up.
Figure it to be a bullpen night for both these teams. In fact, when the 2 teams played in Norman in early March, Oklahoma used 8 different pitchers that night. In fact, the guy we see tonight, Michael Catalano, was the only pitcher to go 2 innings.
And you look at the numbers in there with that rotation and into that bullpen, and it's not surprising they were able to have some success bringing so many guys out that have really good numbers out of that pen.
Full count to Jason Walk. The leadoff man is on deck, and Camden Johnson. Huge pitch coming here from Vandy Hatter. Both runners go. They'll get one here. Well, thought they were going to get one. Well, Walk's going to be hung up at first base. Now look out. Get into a run. I got to watch that runner at third base. They do get Walk, who did not realize that Drew Dickerson was glued to the bag at second. So the Patriots get a huge out there of Walk. Two runners move up here, second and third.
Yeah, they were obviously on the move, so they would have been there anyway. So this will be the runner reached. It'll be an E6, but then, yeah, for Walk, he takes off thinking that for sure everyone's going to be moving on that play, and not 100% sure why they weren't, to be honest with you.
Ben Tryon did the right thing there. Here's a ground ball. Brady can get there, and Vandy Hatter skates around what could have been a troubling inning there in the second. Gets the ground ball out, that retires the side. So the Sooners strand two runners in scoring position on our way to the bottom of the first, with the Patriots down a run.
Out better for Catalano, as doesn't have to mess up the rhythm. And also sometimes you wonder about that a little bit, but he's right back to work. And see if the Patriots can really kind of duplicate what they did in that first inning, just didn't have the big hit after loading the bases.
Well, you had to like the situation. Bases loaded, one out. Ryan Martin at the plate, second on the team in home runs with 10. Marty with 31 RBIs is second in that category as well. But double plays kind of plagued the Patriots recently. You go back to Sunday's game, Patriots had the tying run on base. In fact, they had the go-ahead run on base in the ninth inning against Kennesaw, down a run, and it was Luke Pettit who hit into a double play, and that ended the ball game. So Patriots have rolled into
21 of them now.
21. They've induced 22 and rolled into 21.
And unfortunately for Ryan Martin, that was his first of the year, so not a spot where you were expected him to roll over on one and end up with a 2-ball to end the inning.
Dylan Schlegel will get us started in the home half of the second. Number 6 hitter in the Patriots lineup. He's riding a career-high 5-game hit streak. That zone is tight tonight from Joe Harris.
It really is.
1-0. I'm wondering how many challenges there would have already been in the ABS system.
I don't know if there's enough leverage yet for it to happen, but maybe a couple that could have been. I don't know if you've watched much of that, but when they put that up on the video board and the crowd's anticipating and then explodes, it's been awesome.
1-1. It's definitely injected some life into the big league game. And
it's also put some umpires on notice.
It has. And it's going to take some figure out, managers and players, as to how they're going to utilize that ABS system. Right now, Dayton LaChance has got an equipment malfunction here with his mitt.
Glove broke.
Yeah.
No, and obviously CB Buckner's been the one at the major league level that's gotten most of the ire of the fans because of ABS. But one of the things that I think is interesting, he's one of the older umpires, but a 3-0 pitch that was called a ball, it got challenged, and one of the things that the cameras caught him saying was, it's 3-0, the zone's bigger, and that doesn't happen anymore. And that's kind of the old school umpires mentality.
Yeah.
And now it's, no, the zone's the zone, and you don't get to expand it whenever you want to.
Yeah. Here it's 2-2 to Schlegel. And strike 3 called. That's a very similar location to the first pitch of that at bat. Schlegel takes it for the strike. So there is one gone.
Fastball, borderline pitch. I feel like it might have been more outside than up, but caught the corner according to Joe Harris, and there's the first strikeout for Catalano.
One of the top pitchers in the state of Texas, coming out of Frisco High School a couple of years ago. 5-pitch mix for the youngster, Catalano, now facing Landon Underhill. It's been a struggle for Lando over his last 10 games. When he has seen time, he's just 2 for his last 17.
he had a stretch where he had turned into your everyday center fielder. That job now goes to Dylan Schlegel.
Ball on a strike. Guy that came to DBU from McLennan, started his college career at Mercer, where he was the opening day starter in right field 3 years ago. He had to redshirt his freshman year. Fouled off. Guy that's had to just battle injuries all throughout his career. He had double hip surgery and hand surgery. All of that in his first year at Mercer in 2022. Comes from an athletic family. His father, Glenn Underhill, played golf at San Diego State. Check swing. Joe Harris said he didn't need help. There's two gone. Catalano, a couple of punch outs here in the second.
Yeah, both on the elevated fastball. One looking, this one, Underhill not able to lay off, and even from that angle, you can tell he went around.
2 away for Cooper Neville. Saw his 15-game hit streak snapped on Sunday. It's the longest hit streak for a Patriot since Michael DeTalo had a 16-game streak last year. DeTalo is now in the St. Louis Cardinals organization, 9th-round pick last year.
You mentioned Grant Jay and that Mariners organization. You see there was a minor league game where it was Grant Jay behind the plate and Mason Peters on the mound.
Isn't that cool? Popped him up. This is Jason Walk with a circuitous route, but he's got it.
Looked like a center fielder making that play.
May be thankful that they've got Walk right there at third base on a play like that. 1, 2, 3, Patriots down in order. Through 2 on our way to the third with Oklahoma up 1-0.
Our score, the Sooners back-to-back 2-out base hits in the first. The only run scored today as Aiden Vandy Hatter back on the mound to start inning number 3. And boy, he'd love to be able to duplicate what Ryan Borberg did Game 3 on Saturday. And to talk a little bit more about Ryan and what he was able to do over the weekend, we bring in the third member of our broadcast crew, and Alexis De La Garza.
Thanks, Brendan. Yeah, he got his first quality start of the season, and he's had a journey to get here. He started his career at Illinois State, then went to Johnson County College before coming to DBU last season. And he told me through that journey, he learned a lot, got a taste of what Division I was like, and then going down to JUCO. He said there, it was a good mix of freedom and guidance from the coaches, and they did a good job at placing you in places where you were going to thrive. He did battle through injury in the fall and the start of the season and told me it was tough not pitching much in the fall. Said it's kind of like riding a bike, but you also have a ramp of progression, and he felt like he missed that. So he felt a little unprepared coming into the season and told me that showed in his first few outings. So they made some changes, worked on some things, but he's been our Sunday guy since about March last year and says it all starts from trust from the coaches. It's amazing that they trust in him and that he just has a good defense behind him, and told me as cliche as it sounds, it really is just showing up every day and putting in the work, and mentioned trust is earned, and you got to continue earning that trust, guys.
Well, thanks, Alexis. And yeah, for Borberg, by far his best outing over the weekend. 6 innings, no runs, 1 walk, 8 strikeouts. He was efficient, only needed 82 pitches through 6 innings. As Jackson Willits shoots this one down the line, and potential for extra bases. And Willits is going to get the second, and then Martin fumbled the baseball, and that's going to allow Willits to get to third. He never stopped. Boy, a ball only hit 79 miles an hour down the right field line, turns into 3 bases on a double and an error out in right field by Ryan Martin.
It's a great swing by Willits. Right-hander that pitches off the plate. Look where Ben's a line there at first base. The right-hander, he's going to be off the line. So because where that ball's hit, yeah, easily double down the line. Martin just can't pick it up. Takes him 3 tries before he gets it.
That's the second error for the Patriots through 2+ innings tonight. It's the 3rd error of the season for Martin in the outfield. And now Trey Gamble's to the plate, who doubled his last time up. So for Jackson Willits, it's a 5-game hit streak. He picked up his 8th double of the season. And now Gamble trying to drive him in. And he's ahead at 2-0. Gamble, a Utah product, actually began his college career in Salt Lake City, grew up in Alpine, Utah. He was at Salt Lake Community College for 2 years, was a third-team JUCO All-American before making his way to Oklahoma last year. And he has taken a step forward this year at 285 last season. 10 doubles, 4 homers, 26 RBIs. Grounds this one to second, and that'll get a run home. On a 3-0 pitch, he is given a green light, gets the job done, and as of right now, it's an unearned run. We'll see how the rest of the inning goes, but it's 2-0 Oklahoma.
It's just textbook by Gamble. Get on the right side, that's when run's gonna get in. On the ground, well hit. Grady makes a sure-handed play, but RBI number 22 for Gamble on the year.
It's Brendan Brock who is coming to the plate. He takes low for ball 1. Brock, an RBI single his first time up. First 2 men were retired in the first, but then a Gamble double and a Brock single made it 1-0 Oklahoma. They score again here in the 3rd inning. Base is empty and a 1-1 count now to Brock.
Come now, bro.
We talked about this Oklahoma team and the stretch that they're in. They're just 2-5 in their last 7 games. They were 19-5 a couple of weeks ago after first 2 weekends of conference play, as this ball's hit deep to center field. That ball was mashed. Schlegel's at the wall and leaps, can't get it. Brendan Brock with his team-leading 8th home run of the season, and Oklahoma has jumped out to a 3-0 lead in the 3rd.
It's not a power-hitting team. They have 29 home runs on the year. That's towards the bottom of the SEC. But one guy that's got some real pop is Brock. 8th of the season. And did not need any help on this one. Center field, well, what a swing right there. Now 33 RBIs on the season to lead the club in that department. Better watch out now. I mean, this is an Oklahoma team that can flat-out pitch. Find yourself down 3 runs in the 3rd. It's a team that has a team ERA at 3.95, and that's playing in the SEC with an ERA at 3.95 tells you how good they are.
Yeah, 3-0 hole is going to be difficult. Here it is again, off the bat at 106 miles an hour to center field. Schlegel, maybe another 10 feet or so. He might have had a play. Swing and a miss. A sweeper there from Vandy Hatter. And it's 0-2. That is the 29th home run of the season for Oklahoma. Brock does lead him with 8. So 3-0 now. And Nolan Stevens, after falling behind a 0-2 at 1 ball and 2 strikes. But, you know, back to that Oklahoma season. Had a top 10 matchup in Austin, and they were swept in really a difficult fashion. They were run-ruled in game 1 and then lost 2 extra inning games in walk-off fashion to their rivals from Texas. And then lost a series against Alabama. They did beat ORU last week in the midweek. But again, 2-5 in their last 7 games, and they're hoping. It's not like the schedule lets up a ton, as there's another foul ball as Stevens is battling. But you could say, all right, you got Vanderbilt coming up next. They're at least not ranked at the moment. Then you got Mizzou, who's got a winning record. But they end the season 3 of their last 4 series against teams currently ranked. 2-2, misses the inner half. Got a series against Auburn, then Florida, then Arkansas, and the one team that's not ranked, it's Tennessee, who could easily get back into the top 25 by then. (3-2) to Stevens. Foul ball down the first base line. This will be the 9th pitch of this at bat to Nolan Stevens right after the home run from Brendan Brock.
You get it close to 40 wins with that schedule, finish somewhere in the middle of the pack in the SEC. They'll be in great shape.
There's a ball hit deep to right field. It's got Carey Schlegel back again, and another home run as Nolan Stevens goes back-to-back with Brendan Brock. It is Stevens' 4th of the season, and the Sooners have a 4-0 lead.
Vandy Hattert's found some barrels this inning, which is unfortunate. He came in tonight having just given up 2 home runs in 13 1/3 innings, and they've gone back-to-back. Dan Heifer out of that dugout, and that'll be the final pitch that Vandy Hattert throws tonight. I mean, you're down 1-0 going into the third. A 3 spot here in this 3rd inning. And an unfortunate way for Vandy Hattert to finish his night.
Well, leaves after giving up the 4th run of the ball game, and Russ Smith is coming out of the bullpen for the Patriots. Sooners, 4-0 lead, only 1 out, still swinging it here in the 3rd. What he did on Friday night, game 2 against Kennesaw State. He went 2 innings, struck out 3 batters, did pitch around 3 walks, but did not allow a run, did not allow a hit. And he picked up his first save of the season. And so he will take over against Dayton LaChance after Vandy Hattert goes 2 1/3, giving up those 4 runs. So nobody on for Smith, and the first pitch is that breaking ball, and that was the pitch for him over the weekend against Kennesaw State. It felt like a lot for DB. Even in hitter leverage counts, they would go to that breaking ball, and Kennesaw State had a hard time adjusting to it. This is this one now at 1 ball and 1 strike. It was the first scoreless appearance for Russ Smith, and not entirely fair because he began the season as the starter.
My first year we put base down.
Strong for the first month of the season, but ran into a wall there against Delaware and trying to find it again. And able to locate that 94-mile-an-hour fastball at 1-2. And you can pair that with the breaking ball. And coming into the season, the curveball was what we were told could be incredibly special. Spin rate off the charts. He tries it there, and it's hit softly up the middle, and it's going to sneak past Cooper Neville for a base hit. Now, while Oklahoma's had their fair share of rockets, they've also been able to sneak a few through. That one there off the bat at 74 miles an hour from LaChance. He's got a 2-for-2 day.
Got that hanging breaking ball, kind of got it in on the hands, off the handle. 2 strikes, just put it in place, see what happens. He's able to get on base, sneak that one past Neville, who's got some pretty good range at short.
It's Dayton Taki. Grounded out his last time up. And he will take the curveball for strike 1. Taki, Metroplex native. Grew up in Fort Worth, went to Weatherford High School, and actually played his first couple of years in Weatherford College. 2nd season at Oklahoma. Looking for his first hit since the month of February. Average is at 171. He's 0 for his last 12. Had a hit against Gonzaga February the 28th. Long hold here for Russ Smith. And that ball's plugged into right center field, and that's going to be the first hit since late February for Taki. Schlegel gets it in. The runner in LaChance will stop at 3rd base, but it's batting practice right now for Oklahoma.
Yeah, you look at the extra base hits this inning. 2 doubles, 2 home runs, 4 straight hits now. It's another hanging breaking ball, and Taki plugs that gap. Gets that monkey off his back as you talk about that long stretch where he's not had a hit since late February. Now they got a chance to really break this thing open. Already a 4-run lead with the pitching staff they had. This can be a steep mountain to climb. You get a 2-run single right here.
Infield is back with 2 in scoring position, and there's a liner into center field, and that should plate 2 more for the Sooners. Boy, just a clinic right now. That is 5 straight base hits, and the Sooners have a 6-0 lead.
This has the feel of what we saw from Kennesaw State on Sunday. They had 7 straight that reached base. They had 6 consecutive base hits. There was also a walk in there. Now Kel Johnson out of the dugout. You know, and this is a Patriots pitching staff that's gone through just some dreadful times. We mentioned the hit batters a moment ago, 67 hit batters. You've walked 162 on the season, almost as many walks as you have strikeouts. There's been times of frustration this year, like just get it in the zone and make them beat you. Well, that's what's happening right now.
That is happening today. And yeah, it's been the free pass. That's been such a huge problem, and we've obviously talked about that. But you look at the last 4 games, DBU's pitching staff, they've struck out 51 batters. That's 10 straight in 4 straight games. First time they've done that since the first 5 games of last year. So it's 51 strikeouts, but still 29 walks and 5 hit batters over that 4-game stretch. And I think none bigger shows that issue. Within a season-high 17 strikeouts last week against Oklahoma State, you also walked 12.
It was the ultimate outcome game. Yeah, 12 walks, 17 strikeouts. I think Oklahoma State had like 5 home runs in that game, at least.
And Oklahoma here has got 5 extra base hits already.
And look out, this is a team that likes to run. Now, Drew Dickerson's only stolen 1 bag on the season, but 75 stolen bases as a team. That's their MO, and it starts with Reggie Willits in that dugout. Guy that runs this offense, particularly in the run game.
2-0 now here to Jason Walk. So DBU's walk to strikeout is basically smack dab right in the middle of the country. 1.77, that's about 150 out of 300 teams. Fly ball, left field, should be playable for Underhill. Crosses into foul territory, and he's got it. And that will end a stretch of 5 consecutive base hits. And there's 2 away in the 3rd inning. But it's not just the walks, and it's the hit batters as well. And the Patriots, as we talked about, they've already had 1 today. They're at 67. That is 10th in the nation. And when you look at some of the company that are in the top 10 teams in terms of pitching staffs hitting batters, it's really not company that you want to be a part of. There's a throw over to first, and they call him safe. Boy, it looked like Dickerson was dead to rights over there at first base. Dan Hefner's pointing, and I think he wants to challenge. He's asking for them to take a look at.
I mean, you may as well, right? At this point, already down 6. Just try to get back in that dugout. It's a great move right there from Russ Smith.
So it's John Bramer, the crew chief, and then John Wolf over at third base, who will go and look at that replay. And based on how far off the bag Dickerson was, I was fully expecting our first base umpire, Doug Williams, to call him out, but he said safe, and we'll see if we get a definitive look. I don't know if I would call that definitive one way or the other.
Yeah. Trying to slide to that back part of the bag. It's a good slide right there. Try to have to force Benny to get that tag down to the back of the bag.
Based on that, feels like that hand got in there right about the same time as the glove.
Definitely worth the look.
Yeah,
I think
close
Ben
enough.
Tryon thought the tag was there, and it may have been, but nothing I think the camera's going to tell you there that's any different that's going to overturn. Not an easy play, too, for Tryon. Now, it hopes to have the sunglasses on.
Yeah.
Something Derek Hall would not do.
Well, and what's funny is it was Colin Poche on the mound, and Colin Poche's family is here today. He's actually, I think they said they were cousins. I don't know
Michael Catalano.
How far removed from our starting pitcher, Michael Catalano, but they're here, and Colin Poche and Derek Hall had many conversations about, hey, put your sunglasses on at first base. Here's the call. They're going to call him safe at first base, so call stands. And it'll be the 9th hitter and the leadoff man. 9th hitter of the inning in Camden Johnson. But now to finish that note, Patriots, teams that are in the top 10, including DBU with that 18-14 record, top 10 in hit by pitch, they have a .386 win percentage. It's just not a recipe for success. And so it almost feels like if it was just the walks and not necessarily the hit batters, and specifically, I don't know if there's a way to quantify this, but those hit by pitches that start an at bat or where you're ahead in the count, those are just devastating. And for DBU, an offense that averages 8.5 runs per game, they haven't had to necessarily get there to give themselves a chance. 6 runs has been the number. DBU 17-5 when they score 6. They're going to have to score more than 6 tonight if they're going to win. There's a strike. Camden Johnson, who's 0 for 2 today, fly out and a ground out. He has swung the bat in all 3 innings so far here tonight. Oklahoma, a single run in the first, but they have put 5 across here in the third. There's a strike on the outside edge at 93, and Smith now has him at 0-2. Another throw to first base. And if you're wondering what's the fewest number of hit batters this year, Arizona State and Florida State, 2 teams that well over 20 wins already, still in the single-digit loss category, and they respectively have hit 22 apiece. Over 50 fewer. I guess 40 fewer. There's a shot down the line at third, and that extended netting might have saved some fans down that third base line.
Now, both those teams in the hunt in their respective conference races. Arizona State's having a great year. They're in the Big 12, and Florida State's always making noise in the ACC.
Smith still very concerned over there at first by Dickerson. He's got an 0-2 count. Leadoff man Camden Johnson at the plate.
It's okay.
Still have to wait on that 0-2 pitch. First 4 runs of the inning went to Aiden Vandy Hattard. He left after allowing back-to-back home runs. The last 2 go to Russ Smith. 0-2.
Just not been able to put away, at least the first 3 innings tonight, an Oklahoma batter. Without a strikeout yet.
It's a team that'll strike out on you. Yeah. 264 of them on the season. Patriots staff that had been finding a lot of swing and miss lately. This one hit to short, and a leaping play by Cooper Neville as he climbs the ladder to finally put an end to the top of the third. But Oklahoma puts 5 runs on the board. They do it on 6 hits. They leave a man. Could have been worse if not for Cooper Neville. Flash in the leather. Going to the bottom of the third, 6-0 Sooners. UCLA still #1 in the country, and there are some juggernaut teams across the lane here to start the first half of the college baseball season. As Adam Bergholt will lead things off. Michael Catalano still in the ball game. And the first pitch, it misses for ball 1. Catalano was still basically just a bullpen arm when the Patriots saw him back on March the 3rd. His last now 4 outings have all been in starter's role as Bergholt pops this one up in foul territory, and with a little bit of room, Dayton Taki makes the catch. So 1 down, and that's the first time through the order. No harm done against Catalano. And it'll be Keaton Grady coming to the plate. But Catalano has really gotten better each start this season. His first start was against Arizona State. A midweek, they had a 2-game midweek set. That was late February. He gave up 8 runs, but 1 run in 2 innings against UTA, 1 run in 3 2/3 against Southeast Louisiana, and then last week, his best performance, 5 innings of shutout baseball, no walks, 2 hits, 7 strikeouts against Oral Roberts. Here, Patriots seem to potentially have him on the ropes in the first. It was 3 singles. 3 of the first 4 reached on base hits, but then Ryan Martin hit to a 6-4-3 double play, and Oklahoma has not looked back since.
That's one of the defining plays of this ballgame. You feel like Patriots had a lot of momentum right there, a chance to answer the run that Oklahoma scratched in the first, but with a third inning right now is the black eye on that scoreboard for DBU. The 5 runs for OU.
And a swing and a miss. Catalano has found the strikeout stuff. That is his 3rd strikeout in the last 6 batters. And very quickly 2 away here in the 3rd.
That's what he trusts. That is his out pitch to right or left-handers. Fastball, it's got some ride at the top. Throws it about 60% of the time. And with 2 strikes, that's what he's going to go to, and he's got 3 of those punch-outs tonight.
Here's Luke Pettit, flew out deep to right center his first time up. You know, the 3 strikeouts for Catalano. A fastball at the top of the zone that caught Dylan Schlegel looking, and then the 2 elevated fastballs that are out of the zone, swinging strikes against the lefty Underhill, and then the switch hitter and Grady swinging from the right side. Again to right center field, not as deep this time from Luke Pettit. And Brendan Brock is there for an easy play. And boy, since that double play, the Patriots do not have a base runner. 7 in a row sat down by Catalano. As we make our way to the 4th, it's all Sooners. They lead at 6-0. And it is 6-0 Oklahoma. Take a look at the Conference USA standings. And there's 10 teams on that list. The first 9 in the conference get into the CUSA tournament. You can see the Patriots there, and they've won every series. And going back to last year, they've won 10 consecutive Conference USA series, but it doesn't really help when Jacksonville State just refuses to lose. They're 12-0. They had 2 comeback wins against Middle Tennessee over the weekend. You see the bottom 2 of the conference, FIU and Delaware, but 4 weekends in, and you're 4 games back, and the goal needs to be get within 3 before that last weekend against Jacksonville State. See if you can sweep and have a chance, but got some work to do on the weekends. Got some work to do here down 6-0 as the first pitch to Jackson Willits is outside for ball 1. Jacksonville State actually had a chance to watch their final 2 games over the weekend, and you talk about a team that just finds ways to get it done. That's the Gamecocks right there.
Steve Beaser's done a great job there. Guy who had been the longtime coach at Southeast Missouri, had a stint at Missouri for a few years. He's got a turn at Jacksonville State. I really felt like at the end of the season last year that they were one of really the top 2 teams in the league. They knocked out DBU in the conference tournament and had a chance to get the automatic berth, but lost to Western Kentucky in the late innings of that ball game. Got a lot of players back from that squad.
Western Kentucky, I can't remember if it was the first or second year that DBU was in Conference USA, but they just had a phenomenal team.
Yeah.
And this Jacksonville State team, it's kind of that same mentality. Just they're going to find a way to beat you. And they have done that 12 straight times to start league play. As Willits grounds 1 to short, Neville makes the play. And 1 down to start the 4th inning. So the last series loss in conference play for the Patriots, and that was April the 4th through the 6th last year. It's been a full calendar year almost. In fact, it has been. Yeah, today is April 6th. DBU lost the first 2 against Western Kentucky at home, won game 3 to salvage the series. And have not left the conference weekend without a victory since then. There's a ground ball, 1 hop over to third base. Kraus from his knees to his feet, he's got it. Couple of ground outs here to start the 4th inning.
It's a nice response here from Russ. After getting roughed up in the 3rd, coming on in relief, pitch to contact. Let those guys work behind you. Guys like that, Chaden Kraus, one of the elite defenders in the country, whether he's at 3rd or 1st. A guy who has not made an error. You're talking about a calendar year. He hasn't made an error since March 14th of last season. He's had 3 in his career of almost 1,100 chances. It's unreal what he's done.
You need to look at the numbers. It should almost be lining up first base and third base in terms of starts.
Yeah. He's even seen a little bit of time at second base, more out of necessity than anything, but.
Games where in an inning he would play second, and then he would play third, and then he would play second again.
That was unreal. TCU, what was it, a couple weeks ago? And never seen it done before. I mean, you'll see the overshift, but If it was a left-hander, Dan Hefner was putting Shaden Krause at second base. If it was a right-hander, he was right back at third.
Yeah, him and Urim Ibrahimi were flipping back and forth. Had us run into the booth next to try and tell everybody, hey, we told you the wrong lineup, and realize, wait, you just got to wait till a certain batter's up, and it will be the right lineup. 2-2 pitch. This is outside. And Krause also able to pitch a little bit. Had the one appearance his first year at DBU.
Yeah, I think the thought was when he came here, possibility was going to be a two-way guy.
Ground ball sharply up the middle. Neville to his feet after the dive and safe at first base. Benny could not make the scoop. Not sure he would have gotten the out call at first base either way. That'll be an infield single for Brock. When Brock is 3 for 3. He had an 0 for 15 stretch with 11 strikeouts, but now he has a hit in 7 of his last 8 ball games, including 3 for 3 with a home run and 2 RBIs today.
Yeah, came in 281. He's going to be hitting well over 300 by the time he heads back to Norman tonight.
That's a ball that he smoked. It was hit at 103 miles an hour. Neville did everything he could, but got a man at first base, and you've also got great speed in Brock, who's 15 of 16 stealing bases this year. And that's good for just second on the team. Camden Johnson, 19 of 21. But there are 3, make it 4 in this lineup that have at least 10 stolen bases. Johnson with 19. Trey Gamble has 12. Brock told you with 15. And then Jason Walk is 11 for 14. And Smith threw over a handful of times with Drew Dickerson at first, who only had 1 stolen base attempt, but makes a little more sense now with the speed of Brendan Brock over there at first base. And there he goes. Pitch called a strike. The throw nearly got into center field. Neville had to make a great play to avoid the extra base, but Brendan Brock has his 16th stolen base of the season. In Oklahoma, 76 of them now in the year.
Great jump. That throw just sails on him. He was going to be safe anyways.
And Neville came close to making that tag as just missed it. There's a swing and a miss. And the count is at 1-2 here to Stevens. So Russ Smith could make that stolen base a moot point.
But that right there, that is the impact Reggie Willits has had, really since his arrival. The run game.
In the air, left field, over his Underhill. He's there, he's got it. And the inning comes to an end. Oklahoma gets a 2-out base hit. They leave a man in scoring position. We have played 3.5 at Horner Ballpark. Sooners on top, 6-0. As a temperature just dipping below 70 degrees. We're right on the banks of Mountain Creek Lake, and Patriots have some work to do at Horner Ballpark as they are down 6-0 against the Oklahoma Sooners. And boy, they are having a year where they hope that get back into that potential hosting. I think they're there, at least in terms of potential, but look at the top 10 standings, and Oklahoma not on the list in the top 10 in SEC because of 2 tough weekends. Georgia at 10-2, Texas, that incredible start, still sitting there at 9-3. And you can see as you get to that A&M mark and down, the SEC just beats up on each other. But Oklahoma's on the second page of this list at 5-7. Still a top 25 team. Arkansas at 5-7. They're still in the top 25 as well.
But you can have about 14 of those 16 that are regional type teams. Every year it's them in the ACC, something they put in the most.
Krause, first ball swinging, gives it a ride to right, but Nolan Stevens reaches up and makes the catch. So nothing there for the Patriots, who do not have a base runner since they loaded the bases in the first. Ben Tryon had a single. It put runners on every base, but a double play ended the inning. So I guess you would call that technically 9 straight sat down because of the double play, but 8 straight batters sat down for Catalano. Tryon had him for a single to left field his first time up. And there's a strike at 0-1. So DBU had a hit 3 of the first 4 batters. And they are still stuck on 3 hits. And Oklahoma's already got 10 hits today. 5 of those for extra bases, 3 doubles, and 2 home runs. DBU trying to avoid a losing streak to the Sooners, which back-to-back wins for Oklahoma against DBU have been incredibly difficult to come by. In fact, the last time that DBU had a losing streak against Oklahoma, they lost the final game of the home-and-home in 2018 and the first game in 2019. That's the last time DBU's lost back-to-back games to the Sooners. Swing and a miss by Ben Tryon, and you got to go even further. This shocked me. Oklahoma has not swept a season series against DBU since 2010. Patriots have, if there have been 2 games, they've split them at worst. As Tryon swing and a miss, there is 4 strikeouts now for Catalano. He goes a little softer this time. That's his 4th strikeout. Yeah, but 2010, DBU lost 8-4 in Dallas, 14-0 in Norman. The only time they've been swept by the Sooners as a Division I program. And as we mentioned in the first inning, that 2011 Fort Worth Regional, Patriots got their first ever regional win against the Sooners, and since then, DBU is 18-7 against Oklahoma. But all of that doesn't do a hill of beans right now as you're down 6-0 in the bottom of the 4th.
You're in jeopardy of going over against the state of Oklahoma this year. Oklahoma State 0-2. You haven't scored a run against this OU Sooners staff.
Yeah, that's another oddity too, because 3 of the last 4 teams that have lost in this series have been shut out. Oklahoma getting the Patriots 2-0 in Norman, and then DBU doing it in 25 and in 2024 against the Sooners. When it was last year that I think fans wanted to create some Oklahoma State Championship t-shirts, because I think you ran the table against Oklahoma. Not the case this year. Marty up the middle. Nice play by Willits to get to it. He'll throw to first, but it's not going to be in time. And so there's the first hit for DBU since the first inning. It ends a stretch of 9 consecutive sat down by Catalano. Marty is on, and here's Dylan Schlegel.
A good approach by Martin. You got a lot of room. They play him more to the pull side there with the shortstop back up the middle. Willits did everything he could. Guy's got a ton of range. It's short. See if we can start stringing some hits together. Just scratching a run would be huge right now.
Gonna have to do it with another 2-out base hit. As Dylan Schlegel's at the plate. And he will take for strike 1. Schlegel really has settled into an everyday piece of your lineup. He's played in every game since March the 21st against Delaware. Season best and career best 5-game hit streak for Schlegel. Had a home run in game 1 against Kennesaw State, a 3-run shot. Had a single hit in all 3 games over the weekend. It's this one in the air to right field. Stevens starts back a little bit. He camps out. He'll make the catch, and the inning is over. So DBU gets a 2-out single, but nothing more. They strand a runner at first base. 4 in the books. Sooners cruising 6-0. Talk obviously about the 21 team that got to the Super, and the 2011 that did the same thing, and that 23 team was so close. And find a way to win that first game against ORU. Anything's on the table in that second, and who knows from there.
6, 7, and 8, starting with Dayton LaChance. Yeah, to RJ is your Friday night ace. Braxton Bragg, who was, boy, as good as anybody down the stretch. And he's making some noise in the Orioles organization. Had a great year last season in Double-A. You may be looking at 2 big leaguers that were in your rotation that year when it's all said and done. RJ's already there.
I'd love to see Braxton find a way. And Jaron DeBerry was, he That's when you started to get a glimpse of what he did, and then he came on as one of your best pitchers the very next year.
Yeah, Jaron's, I think, one of the top prospects right now in the Brewers organization. That's been problematic.
Well, especially at 0-2.
Yeah. Need to dig a little bit further. We can talk about the numbers, and they're astronomical at 68 hit batters now. But how many have been either in a two-strike situation or even worse, 0-2?
Yeah, that's the thing. I don't know. It would take some serious digging, but it feels like that's either the starting at bat or when you have leverage as a pitcher. That's when a lot of these have happened. You know, if it's 3-0 and it happens, like, okay, not a big deal, but or a 3-2 pitch, but you know, when you're up 1-2 and you're trying to keep your team from completely losing control of the ball game, that hurts.
Dayton Taki had that double. We talked about it earlier, the first hit since February 28th. It's a guy they had high hopes for when he arrived from Weatherford College. He was the team's everyday first baseman last year. He suffered a gruesome injury in Athens, road trip against Georgia, but he came back in time for the postseason. 1 ball, 1 strike. Baseball family. His dad played at Tarleton State. Russ Smith could use a double play ball here. Big swing and a miss. 1-2. Patriots pitching still looking for their first strikeout of the night.
51 in the last 4 games.
And there it is. Got him on the corner. Broke off the off-speed pitch there and gets Taki. There's 1 gone.
A good curveball there from Russ, and be a situation where Taki was expecting something that if he throws the breaking ball, he's going to try to get him to chase, but instead he lands it for a strike.
Drew Dickerson. He was in the starting lineup the last 2 games of their series against Alabama. He was one of the bright spots for the Sooners last weekend. 4 for 7. Rips that one the other way. That's going to get LaChance to third base. Another double. It's the 5th, or rather 6th extra base hit of the night. But 6 of their 11 have been for extra bases.
And they've been able to do it to all fields. This one here, I mean, that's a great job of waiting on a breaking ball that ends up really in the middle of the plate, but inside-out swing, hit with some pace down that right field line. Patriots probably a little lucky that Dayton LaChance was the runner at first base, doesn't have the best wheels. So it keeps that 7th run at third base for the time being.
4 doubles, 2 home runs tonight for Oklahoma. It could become danger time with a base hit here from Walk. Shows bunt, was going to pull the bat back, maybe slap at it. Georgia native out of Ackworth, Georgia. This guy had been the leadoff hitter for OU a majority of last year. Dangerous on the base pass. 11 stolen bases this season.
And not necessarily a bunt situation, but corners are still in, and he keeps showing it to start. Don't expect him to, but even if the corners are coming in, he's got the speed to potentially beat it out. That'll work too.
Going to score 2 here. And Walk's going to try to make it a double. The throw is late. Back-to-back doubles. They've got 5 doubles now, and this one is dangerously becoming a laugher in the 5th. 8-0 Sooners.
And we talked a lot about the hustle that we see from Ben Tryon and his ability to stretch those routine singles into a double, and that's exactly what Walk does here. I mean, there's no world where that's a double, but pure hustle and speed from Walk. And That gets Dan Hefner out of the dugout to go get Russ Smith.
It has been a tough night for this Patriot pitching staff. Michael Benzer is the reliever getting ready to come in. Yeah, an 8-0 ball game. Midweek's been a rough go of it for DBU this season. Russ Smith will exit here. 12 hits tonight for Oklahoma. We're just in the 5th. And the Sooners have got an 8-0 lead. So Joe Harris is coming out. No move yet here from Dan Hefner. May just be buying a little bit more time for Benzer. He is going to make that move. So Benzer on, Smith exits. Pats have got some serious work to do. Down 8 runs when we come back.
And the Sooners are hitting the cover off the baseball. They've got an 8-0 lead here in the top of the 5th. And they chase Russ Smith from the ball game. Russ goes 2 innings in relief, 4 runs on 6 hits, no walks and a strikeout. 44 pitches, leaves with Jason Walk at second base. Top of the order coming up, it'll be Michael Benzer out of the bullpen.
Yeah, Michael Benzer has been a guy who's really emerged here recently. In fact, has become one of the better arms in this Patriot bullpen. Probably one of the most respectable earned run averages at 2.53. In fact, it leads the staff right now. It just continues to plummet. And his last 3 outings tells the story. 4 1/3 innings in which he has not given up a run. Probably the most electric stuff, too. Fastball that can get up to 97. He regularly lives about 92 to 95. The slider is really a true plus pitch, and a changeup. And so that will be put to the test here against Camden Johnson. You saw that he faced Oklahoma back on March 3rd, worked a scoreless inning with a couple of punch-outs.
And what you're looking for from Benzer is, he's been used to, throughout the course of this season, coming in some high-leverage situations. This isn't one of those. He's got to be able to find that concentration and be able to do exactly what he's been doing for the last several weeks, and that is fill up the strike zone and throw some pretty nasty stuff.
Started his college career north of the Red River at Oklahoma State. Was there as a freshman in 23. Then 2 seasons at the University of Houston. And now in his senior season at DBU. So getting ready to face Camden Johnson. A hit batter in this inning and a couple of doubles. An 8-0 lead for Oklahoma. It's Camden Johnson. Leadoff hitter's the only guy in this lineup that hasn't done anything tonight. He's 0 for 3. He was robbed of a base hit by Cooper Neville on a leaping grab back in the 3rd.
We talked about the extra base hits. 7 different hitters in this lineup have an extra base hit for Oklahoma.
That tells the story tonight. They have just ripped the cover off the ball. Walk's always a threat to go. Led the team last year in stolen bases. There he goes. Pitch down. Burkholt's got a cannon. It's going to be late. Jason Walk has got it stolen. In 3 seasons, Walk now with 42 stolen bases.
Not the easiest pitch to throw on if you're Adam Burkholt, and still put it right on the money. He gets an easier pitch to throw, and he's got a chance at 3rd base.
Bring the infield in. You may be wondering why still it's 8-0 in the 5th. I think Skip Johnson's seen this Patriot offense through the years and just knows, hey, no lead safe. You're in this ballpark. We're going to keep forcing the issue here. Jared Jenkins has gotten up in the pen now, 3-0 from Benzer. Excuse me, I was behind a pitch. He's on. He's on for the first time. So they're on the corners here. For Jackson Willis, there you take a look at Jenkins.
And now you got speed on both sides. That's your team leader at first base. You've been able to keep Johnson off the base pass, but I think Oklahoma is probably thinking, hey, let's get this thing to double digits and try to get out of here early.
It's always a long drive heading back to Norman. Late night.
A little easier if you come
right.
out of here with a win like this, if they can keep it rolling.
The worst is the drive to Stillwater. I feel like that drive is you're never going to get there.
We've made some late trips back from Stillwater.
A ball, a strike to Willits. He's got one of those doubles tonight.
I think the latest I ever got back from Oklahoma, it was actually a fall scrimmage, and I think played 12 innings. I remember World Series was on, so turned on the World Series as I'm driving home.
Yeah.
It goes to 16 innings, and I listened to the whole thing. I walk in, turn it on. About 2 pitches later, the game's over. It was the perfect way to get me home. It's the Dodgers Red Sox in, I believe, 2018, if I'm not mistaken.
Got under it. This is Underhill. Walk the third base. They'll test that arm. See if they cut this right here. They do, and they get him at the bag at second. Walk does score to make it 9-0. They do cut that runner down at Johnson at second base. So it is 9-0 Oklahoma. We are at the halfway point, and the Patriots desperately trying to scratch a run here when we come back.
Extra base hits machines, and by the way, you got that guy still on the mound who's cruising.
Oh, last week against Oral Roberts, it was 5 shutout.
Yeah, so his last 2 outings combined now, 9 innings, no runs, 6 hits, no walks, 11 Ks.
Oh, that'll play.
Last 2 starts for Catalano.
Landon Underhill to start the bottom of the 5th. Underhill, Neville, and Bergholt, 7, 8, and 9. It's a Patriot offense that came in tonight averaging 8.5 runs per game. Second highest scoring offense in Conference USA. They hit 293 as a club. They're 9th in the country in home runs with 62. You wouldn't know it when they play this crew. They have yet to score a run against the Sooners this year.
Yeah, conditions weren't great in Norman back early March. Tonight, more kind of a neutral type of environment. That hadn't hurt Oklahoma at all.
Two balls and 2 strikes. I'm just noticing this with Landon Underhill, but that looks like to be a different stance for him.
I thought that when he came in over the weekend too. Last week on Tuesday.
Look at the way where the bat is and just his stance. Maybe we can look at it here from the side.
Be interested to know what specifically he felt like he was doing different in his approach and what he's trying to correct with that.
Well, he's gone, and 5 strikeouts for Catalano. And it's been on that pitch all night. I mean, the scout on him is the out pitch. It's nothing fancy. It's a riding fastball, and that has played nicely for Catalano.
I think he has 1 strikeout on a breaking ball. And that might have even been a cutter, which kind of acts like a fastball. The other ones have been those elevated, and most of them swing and miss for strike 3.
Cooper Neville. Coop was hitting 400 back on March 20th. Yeah, he has hit a little bit of a slide here, 250 over his last 10. Came to debut out of Iowa Western. The team last year that Cooper Neville played for at Iowa Western had 6 players that were drafted. That's been one of the top junior college programs in the country for a while. You know, Mark Raridan had been the head coach there for a good number of years. Raridan's now the head man at Western Kentucky. He's done a tremendous job at building that program up. They had a guy last year, Marcus Phillips, the 33rd overall pick in the draft last year to the Red Sox. Grounded to Taki at first, and there's 2 down. Well, Catalano is just on cruise control. Here is out of Burkle.
1 base runner since loading the bases in the first. I mean, that double play that we just showed you in the game break kind of changed everything. Not saying that was a 9-run difference, but Patriots put a couple of runs on the board there in that inning. Maybe things feel a little bit different now.
He is very businesslike on the mound. Just not a ton of emotion, just goes to work. Pitch to contact right here, foul ball that's going to get out of play. But he has been special. This whole pitching staff, I mean, you got two guys with ERAs that are above 7.
Catalano came in with a 5.19 ERA and it's third worst on the staff, but boy, the last 2 weeks he's looked like an ace.
He may have the makings of one. He's only a sophomore. Continue to develop under the likes of a Skip Johnson, one of the top pitching coaches, head coaches in the game. I wouldn't be shocked to see that Catalano be a guy that's in their rotation at some point in his career.
You need more than 3 in the postseason.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
he stays like this, he's going to see some meaningful postseason baseball.
They've got a special in their rotation, right? Cameron Johnson, 8 starts at 2.97 ERA, 52 punch-outs, and 36 in the third. Burkholdt hit it on the nose, but this is going to go right to Trey Gamble. 3 up, 3 down. It's been that kind of night, and it's been an outstanding performance from Michael Catalano. He has shut out the Patriots through 5. On our way to the 6th, and a 9-run lead for OU. Warner Ballpark, Oklahoma, and DBU. Take a look at this. The top 40 RPI teams in the SEC. 40 is kind of the measuring stick, teams that you feel like are confidently going to be in a regional. We're still early. We're just past the halfway point, but take a look at this list. Teams, you got 5 teams inside the top 10. Then you can see Georgia, who just swept Mississippi State over the weekend. They're tops in the SEC conference in the standings. They got an RPI number 21. But that is quite a list right there of royalty in college baseball. How about in Conference USA? Not too bad here. CUSA's got 3 teams. Missouri State at 11. Patriots took 2 of 3 from Missouri State. Jacksonville State, 12-0 in conference. They got a 28 RPI, and Liberty at 33. I mean, you're looking at a CUSA conference that could possibly be a multi-bid league. It'll be interesting to see how this all shakes out.
And if DBU is where they have traditionally been, and you'd have the 4 teams right there. But unfortunately for DBU, it's really the first time since 2017 where you're at this point of the year and you're outside of that range for an at-large bid.
Patriots are at, the RPI is at 78. You know, you win on Sunday against Kennesaw, maybe you get inside the top 70, and it just makes things a little interesting. But it is starting to look more and more, and if this goes as the way it goes tonight, I mean, at some point for a team like DBU, a mid-major, you've got to have some of those signature wins on the midweeks, and that's where DBU's been so good through the years. You talk about the success the Patriots have had against Oklahoma in years past. Teams like that, Oklahoma State, TCU, you stack some of those wins and then finish towards the top of your conference. Patriots have regularly had a top 40. They are at the point where you almost feel like, well, you're going to have to win a conference tournament.
Yeah.
Not saying that's the case just yet, but it's getting closer. Left, you got one with Texas Tech, who's, you know, Tech would be on the wrong side of the bubble as well.
There's only one more home midweek, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, what, UTA?
Next week.
But it's on the positive side, Patriots have not lost a conference series. They've won all 4. Now they feel like they should probably have swept 2, if not maybe 3 of those series. Schlegel! Oh, what a grab in center field. You can put that one on the highlight reel for Dylan. There's 2 gone in the 6th.
He has been just tremendous in the outfield this season. And you see the break that he was able to get and sold out for that baseball. Great play.
On a night where there's just been nothing to write home about offensively, Dylan Schlegel flashes the leather. He has become the guy for DBU in center field. Offensive numbers have been on the rise. Seen some power from Schlegel this spring. You missed Nate Humphreys out there. You've been spoiled the last 4 years. Hump was the 2-time Conference USA Defensive Player of the Year. he was as good as any center fielder defensively. And Dylan Schlegel all of a sudden is starting to make some plays out there that reminds you of Nate.
I think Dan called Nate the best center fielder he ever coached. And Michael Benzer, solid work out of the pen.
That's nice. He got some defensive help. He gets a strikeout. And that ends the inning. So he goes 1-2-3 through the Sooners in the 6th. Patriots down by 9. Well, Dylan Schlegel with some Gold Glove work out in center field. Michael Benzer with the strikeout as we go to the bottom of the 6th. Team in the country coming in tonight. And one of the big reasons Oklahoma's had the season they've had, that man right there, Jackson Willett, starting shortstop. He's our Sooner Spotlight tonight. For more on Willett's story, we welcome back Alexis Delagarza.
Thanks, Reagan. Jackson has baseball in his blood, truly, and it starts with his dad, Reggie Willits, who is the Sooners' associate head coach. Reggie played for Oklahoma back in 2002 through 3 before heading the big leagues with the Angels. And after his playing career, he got into coaching, first at the high school level and then eventually making his way back to the majors with the Yankees, and now he's in Norman. So obviously for Jackson, the game has always been a part of his life. He's the oldest of 3 boys, and you've probably heard his middle brother, Eli's name. He was the #1 overall pick in last year's draft by the Nationals, becoming the youngest #1 pick in MLB history. But beyond baseball, family is huge for them. They own Double 7 Ranch, a Hereford cattle operation in their hometown of Fort Cobb, Oklahoma. Started back in 2007, and say it's a lot of work, but they love it. Guys.
What is in the water in Oklahoma with the Willits and the Holiday family?
Royalty, yeah.
It's unbelievable.
Both universities.
Shallow fly. Here is Jackson Willits back on it. He's got it.
See, that's what you got to do. Alexis does a report, hit a ball right to him. He gets a little
that's
action.
How it works. Right?
We're in sync. We're in sync.
That's how we drew it up here, right? Way to execute it, guys.
Credit the truck for calling that play, or
one man gone here for Luke Pettit. This pitch, Pettit hammers it high and deep down the right field line. Does this have a chance? Well, how about this? Willits putting on a show defensively in the 6th. Couple plays right to him. Yeah, but the state of Oklahoma, was Jackson Holiday, first overall pick?
Yep.
Oklahoma kid. You know, I mean, just and the son of a big leaguer.
Just can't imagine the pressure. #1, just being the #1 overall pick, but to have the qualification of the youngest ever to go first overall. Like, how does a kid handle that pressure? And obviously, he's going to have a support system second to none. But I think Jackson's hoping that he's going to be up there soon.
Chayton Krause, 2 gone in the Patriots' 6th. One and one, Michael Catalano, 5 2/3, a shutout baseball tonight. One of the few highlights tonight, Chayton Krause reached 200 career hits back in the 1st inning. That, along with Dylan Schlegel's diving catch in center field, that's just about been it tonight for DBU.
Kind of, burn the rest of the tape.
Get ready to go to Sam Houston over the weekend.
It's a Sam team that's, if the season ended today, maybe tiebreakers, they would be out of the tournament. But, I mean, that's going to be a desperate team. They want to find a way to get out of that cellar. The Patriots really in the middle of the pack. They can't afford to stumble down the stretch.
Full count to Krause.
And I said it before, I really feel like when you're 4 games back, you'd love to get it to where win a series or sweep a series to end the year and you win the conference.
At least make it interesting when Jacksonville State comes to town.
But unfortunately, you're going to need help because Jacksonville State, somebody's got to beat them before then.
You would think, right? Good at bat here for Krause, 3-2 again. And he gets on. Yeah, Jack State, you just look at that schedule. I mean, they've got Well, they got a good one this week. They go to Liberty. You would think at some point, I mean, Liberty's right there in the hunt as well in the conference. FIU's really down. You get them at home, and Mexico State. But that series too, they got 2 really tough road series at Liberty and at Missouri State. You would hope there's some losses in there. The Patriots can somehow get on a roll.
You know, and they're a team too, Jacksonville State, that have some marquee midweeks. Lost early in the year, a 1-run loss to Alabama. Played them again, lost again in a 1-run ball game. They've got one more big opportunity, actually 2 more. They've got Auburn on the schedule twice, so yeah, they've still got a chance for some of those RPI midweeks. And then, of course, some big RPI games, especially that Missouri State series, and then Liberty that's coming up here this weekend. Both of those on the road, which will help them.
Tucky's got it. He gets out of the inning, so 2-out walk, no damage done. And Michael Catalano tonight, 6 strong innings of shutout baseball. Headed to the 7th, and the Sooners up 9-0. Pitching change for DBU, brought to you by the Enos Group as we go to the 7th inning. Michael Benzer, an inning and 2/3, does not allow a run, so he's gone 6 straight innings without giving up a run. 19 pitches tonight for Benzer. And the veteran right-hander, Jared Jenkins, now on the mound.
Yeah, Jenkins out of the bullpen for the Patriots, his 12th appearance. And 8th out of the bullpen, the senior out of Winchester, Virginia. 2-2 on the year in ERA at 8.51. 28 strikeouts in 24 innings, but the 20 walks. Once again, making his 12th appearance. Had 1 save this season. And he's got the sinking fastball, the cutter, the curveball. And coming off a solid performance against Kennesaw State. Went 3 innings of shutout baseball. He did have to pitch around 4 walks, as well as a wild pitch, but was able to do so. Give the Patriots a little bit of length and pick up the win in that Game 2 series clincher for DBU and a 7-5 victory. So Jenkins out of the bullpen, and he will face Dayton LaChance. Here to lead things off. Well, LaChance today has been all over the bases. He's been on all 3 times. And he takes off the plate for ball 1. First pitch from Jared Jenkins. Couple of singles in the 2nd and the 3rd. He was hit by a pitch on an 0-2 offering from Russ Smith in the 5th. Led off the 5th and then eventually came around to score on a 2 RBI double from Jason Walk. Skies this one, shallow right field. It'll be Keaton Grady who's there, and he's got it. And there is the first out of the 7th inning. And that'll bring up Taki. Oklahoma. Big inning for them, that 5-run 3rd. 5 runs on 6 hits. They had 2 doubles, 2 home runs in that 3rd inning. It took a 1-0 game and blew it open. And here's Taki, hits one weakly over to first base. Benny's got it. He'll take it to the bag himself. And the combination of Benzer and now Jenkins have kind of settled things down a little bit. It's 2 away here in the 7th. Drew Dickerson is coming up. Sophomore and Drew Dickerson out of Lee Summit, Missouri. And time is going to be called, and we're going to have a quick conference.
It's an interesting offensive timeout. Just trying to slow the pace down of Jared Jenkins a little bit here as he's quickly gotten 2 outs in, 3 pitches. Doesn't look like anything that Reggie Willits is relaying any earth-shattering information right here, other than maybe just to slow down the pace a little bit.
Reggie Willits, about 10 or 15 minutes before the game, had a pretty animated message to the hitters in shallow right field, and whatever he said, he should probably bottle it up.
Right. Save that for the trip to Vanderbilt this weekend.
You press the right button, Mr. Willits. It's Drew Dickerson. He's also been on all 3 times. He's got a double, he's got a single, he's also been hit by a pitch. Michael Binzer came in the 5th, walked the first batter he faced, then gave up a sacrifice fly, but they threw out a runner trying to advance to second. The run did score, and since then it's been 6 straight sat down by Binzer and then Jenkins. Fastball there at 95 from Jared at 1-1. It's a little more velocity than we've seen from him at times this year. .333 hitting Dickerson is down to 2 strikes at 1-2. Vandy Hattert started it, gave up 4 runs in 2 1/3. Russ Smith gave up 5 in 2 innings. And on the other side, it has just been Michael Catalano, and he has been untouched. Scattered 4 hits and a walk. Dickerson stays alive at 1-2.
What with that curveball that's plus pitch for Jenkins? I mean, fastball run up at 95. Flip that curve right there, try to use it as the out pitch to the right-hander.
One-two to Dickerson. Got him swinging. Fastball at 95 miles an hour, well placed in a 1-2-3 inning for Jared Jenkins. So him and Michael Binzer have kept Oklahoma off the board in the last 2 frames, but we're going to the bottom of the 7th, and it is 9-0 Sooners in Dallas. And your reward for getting Catalano out is Isaac Williams, who's got the best ERA out of the bullpen for Oklahoma. In 7 appearances, a 1.17 ERA. He is 1-0. About a strikeout per inning, just the 1 walk. It's the transfer from UCF, and Isaac Williams in his junior season. 6'1", 200 pounds, originally out of Fleming Island, Florida. But again, making his 8th appearance of the season. Got a good fastball in the mid-90s, a slider, as well as a changeup, and so it will be a 6'1", 200-pound righty who takes over for Catalano. This is one of just 2 games involving top 25 teams here on a Monday. Of course, it's the national championship night, men's basketball, and everything generally on Tuesdays, but with both these teams having Sunday off due to Easter, decided to go ahead and move it up, play today, so extra day off in between. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, then before you start that series on Friday against Vanderbilt for Oklahoma and against Sam Houston for DBU. But Isaac Williams on the mound. And the first pitch to Ryan Martin, swing and a miss with that slider. Williams did not pitch over the weekend against Alabama. He last appeared against ORU on Tuesday. Win an inning, did not allow a run. Pitched around 1 base hit. That's called a strike. He has only allowed a run in 1 game this year. That was 2/3 of an inning against A&M when he gave up 1 run. But he's generally been 3-4 out guy. But just 1 time this year, he did go 2 innings against UTA. It's the 1-2. Tried the outside corner. He tried it a few times with that slider, 2-2. Because last year at UCF, he had 13 appearances and a 9.28 ERA. Began his career before that at Jacksonville. Best year as a sophomore at a 4.56 ERA and a career-high 24 appearances out of the pen. So Martin swings and fouls this one off. Count will ride at 2 balls and 2 strikes. Really, unfortunately, it's been 3 consecutive Tuesdays at home where it's just you get to the late innings and you feel like you've already been dragged through the mud quite a bit. This one a little different than the ones against Oklahoma State and TCU because those games were close in the middle innings.
But all 3 of those games, your opponent had a big inning that just sucked the life out of you. Tonight it was the 3rd. 5 runs in that inning, and with the pitching staff that Oklahoma has, all of a sudden you're down 6-0, and it felt like a double-digit lead.
Martin's worked the count full, and he will take ball 4. Well, it took Catalano 5 2/3 to issue his first walk. First man that Isaac Williams faces here, he issues the walk, and that has not been an issue for Williams. That's just his second this year here in his 8th appearance. Dylan Schlegel now coming to the plate, trying to extend his hit streak out to 6 games. He struck out back in the second. A fastball he thought was a bit high. And then he flew out to right field his last time up. Patriots have the leadoff man on for the first time since the first inning. Since that first inning, their 2 base runners both came with 2 outs, an infield single and then that 3-2 walk to Kraus in the 6th. They finally have one here to start an inning. Schlegel fouls this one off. Taki's going to give a look, and that one's going to ride the netting down on top of that Oklahoma dugout. The only other game in the top 25, Oregon State taking on Washington State, and if you were looking for a close top 25 matchup, you don't have them in either game tonight. It's Oregon State's up 17-0 against Washington State in the 7th. So both teams in the top 25 in action tonight. They've got it on cruise control. Schlegel now ahead at 2-1. There's some marquee matchups across Conference USA coming up tomorrow. A handful of Power 5 teams that are on the docket. Schlegel fouls it off 2-2. Missouri State taking on Missouri. That'll be in Columbia. FIU taking on their in-city rival, Miami. Kennesaw State's going to travel to Georgia Tech, who's a top 5 team. Liberty's at Virginia Tech. Houston's going to Sam Houston. Jacksonville State's at Auburn. So that's a pretty heavy slate. Swing and a miss. Fastball there from Williams at 94 miles an hour, and Schlegel punches out for the second time tonight. 1 away.
It's the benefit of this part of the country, especially teams in Conference USA. A lot of teams in the South that can play some really tough midweek opponents. That's why you see those RPIs like Missouri State, Liberty, Jacksonville State. All 3 of those teams have a chance to play some really quality opponents in the midweek. If you can get some wins and you play towards the top of your conference, you're going to be in a good spot.
And Missouri State with wins over Oklahoma State and Arkansas in their last 2 midweeks, and they've been wild ones. They beat Oklahoma State 16-2 and then beat Arkansas 15-14 in a walk-off, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
It's Jude Hall who's pinch hitting for Landon Underhill. Hall had a handful of starts. Jake Bennett out. Patriots saw Hogan Nelson in left field for a couple games over the weekend. Landon Underhill tonight, but then Jude Hall will come in and pinch hit. And Williams having a hard time finding the strike zone. So he walked Ryan Martin. Now 3-0 to Jude Hall, the pinch hitter. And there's ball 4. So a couple walks for DBU. They've got 2 runners on. First time since the first inning. It'll be Cooper Neville who have a chance, and it'll be a infield meeting called by the Sooners.
You know, it's a Patriots team, and not this is the reason behind a 9-0 deficit right now, but I mean, you're missing 2 of your big bats in your lineup tonight. Dylan Cupp out with a slight hamstring, nagging injury. Hopefully he's back. Jake Bennett's the big one that you're losing right now. Top home run hitter.
Your top 2 on base guys, too.
Yeah, right. It changes the feel of your lineup. No doubt about it. Hoping to get both those guys back. Dylan, you would think is close. I'm hoping that's a day-to-day deal. Don't know. Jake's, we'd heard anywhere 4 to 8 weeks, but he's already out of the boot, walking around. You ask Jake, he's like, I'm ready to swing the bat this weekend.
He could probably tell you pinch hit right now. As Neville hits this one on the nose to right, down the line, and heading towards the corner, and it's gone. Cooper Neville gets the Pats on the board with a 3-run home run, his 6th of the season. And DBU has cut the lead down to 9-3.
I got out of here in a hurry. Didn't know if it was going to scrape over the fence, but it did. Well, that'll inject some life into this ballpark. Never know with this team. In this park, there's been a lot of great comeback wins, and Cooper, middle in, turns on it. He's at it. The power numbers are starting to show up for Cooper Neville.
It was an odd follow through, but still got his hands in enough to get the ball out of here to right field. DBU's 63rd home run of the season. It's a 3-run home run from Cooper Neville to make it 9-3, and now Adam Bergholt is up.
You needed that in a big way, just to ignite something into this team. It just kind of been asleep tonight.
How about 2 more of those? Bergie's swinging a miss, 0-2. So Neville now with his 6th home run. Saw the hitting streak, the on-base streak come to an end over the weekend. He reached in 30 straight games before Saturday. And Bergie's gone on 3 pitches, so Isaac Williams has gone walk, strikeout, walk, home run, strikeout. He got him with a fastball, and he was able to run that one up at 96 miles an hour. So now the top of the order, and Keaton Grady to the plate. Grady 1 for 3, had the leadoff single at the bottom of the first. Since then, he struck out and popped out. He was thrust into that lineup game 2 with that aforementioned cup injury. Responded with a go-ahead home run on Friday night. Swing and a miss. It was his first of the season when he got all of it, and he knew it, everybody else knew it, a no doubt shot to right field.
Looked like the swings you saw last year from Grady. Power numbers started to come around for him last season. 4 home runs last year. Seemed they came late in the season, ended with a surge.
Had 18 stolen bases, was first team all conference, named to the Baton Rouge all tournament team. He pops this one up, left side of the diamond. Gonna be a tough play, but it'll be the shortstop, Jackson Willits, who can't get a glove on it. Jason Walk never looked comfortable. It looked like it was Willits' play, but he just overran it. And Grady will take the double.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, if you start off the bat, you're thinking Walk right here, the third baseman. It just keeps carrying. I think, well, it's going to be Willits. All of a sudden, Walk's all sorts of turned around. Maybe if it's anybody's play, it very well could have been Trey Gamble's coming in as the left fielder, but he's got to make that call. You know, shortstop Willits is kind of the quarterback. He's calling it, but Gamble, I think, has got the best chance at that.
Just maybe the backspin. There's not a lot of wind to deal with tonight, but never comfortable. Grady bouncing around at second. You got Luke Pettit up. And fortuitous strike on the outside corner. The crowd doesn't like it. Can't say I blame him on that one. That's when you tap the helmet if you're Luke Pettit. That one's down and away, 1-1.
Dayton LaChance is really good behind home plate. You watch him, how he'll steal a strike every now and then. He's great at framing, and he probably bought his pitcher Williams a strike right there.
1-1 to Pettit. Out in front of this one, hit it well. Now 1-2, and a lot of pop in that bat from Pettit, and one swing makes it pretty interesting all of a sudden.
They're not done.
Just the 14th start for Luke Pettit, and he's already got 8 homers. 25 RBIs. Can't hold up here. Ball goes around. He will go to first late, and that throw to first will complete the strikeout. So Luke Pettit gone on strikes. And for Isaac Williams, ends up striking out 3 batters in the inning, but DBU on the board. Cooper Neville turns on a fastball. Look at our game recap. Going to the 8th inning. Catalano on the mound was dominant, but that Oklahoma offense, specifically there in that 3rd inning, they have hit the ball all over the park. 7 of their 12 hits have been extra bases.
Patriots not done yet, though. That 3-run homer by that guy right there, Cooper Neville, at least in the back of your mind, you got a little belief. With 6 outs to play with.
Got to keep putting up zeros on this side as Jared Jenkins back on the mound. Jason Walk at the plate. He'll show bunt, pull the bat back for strike 1. Walk 1 for 3. Had a double his last time up. A pure hustle double. Also drove in a couple of RBIs with that 2-base hit. 1 ball and 1 strike to Walk, who was in a zone. The first 3 weeks of conference play. Went just 2 for 9 against Alabama. Both of those hits coming in game 2 on Friday. It does have a hit today, that double. His 4th of the season in RBIs. Number 6 and 7. Hasn't really been asked to be an RBI guy. Generally towards the top of the order, get on base and cause some havoc. 2-2. So here in the 8th, basically gets to act as that leadoff man. Average-wise, having his worst season at the plate as a Sooner. Now 3-2. Highest average was his freshman year. Hit 281, had 19 RBIs. Last year, played in 59 games, hit 267. Did show some sneaky pop. He had 9 home runs. Pitch outside, ball 4, and DBU puts speed on, and you got speed coming to the plate.
Still got a long ways to go in this one, down 6, but worst thing you can do is allow them to scratch a run back across and put you back in a hole here. And now you got to really watch the run game with, as you talk about Walk and his ability to force the issue, to be good with your timing to home plate.
He didn't take long. He's taken off on the first pitch. The throw is high. He overslid the bag, and they got him. So a break there as Bergholt's going to get credit for gunning down his 10th would-be base stealer of the season. And there's 1 down in the 8th inning.
Well, he had it stolen, no doubt about it. It would have been career number 43 stolen bases. Bergholt's throw a little high, but credit Neville, 1, to get up and go get it, and then to stay with it on the tag.
It's tough enough if you're a Patriot and you're used to sliding on this turf, but even more difficult as a opposing player, and Walk learns that firsthand, and so now base is clean on an 0-2 count to Camden Johnson. They're 2 for 3, so Berge is now 10 of 33 catching base stealers. Ground ball to second. Keeter on the backhand, 2 away.
Well, he is so smooth at second base. You got to really, I mean, that infield there is solid. You got a guy, Ben Tryon, playing a little bit out of position, that's learning first base and getting better every day. But when you've got a healthy Keaton Grady at second base, it makes a fairly difficult play look routine.
I mean, your team leader in errors is just at 5, and it's your shortstop, Cooper Neville. We did have one today. There's a foul ball. DBU still one of the best fielding percentages in the country, coming in at .984.
That's what you're, I mean, you talk about Dylan Cupp, you're missing him right now. 2 errors and 115 chances at short. That allows you to play Neville in a different spot, whether it be at second base or third base. It's a lot of versatility, a lot of depth where guys can play different positions.
Willits goes around there. It's 0-2. Really kind of seen that same thing in the outfield. Ryan Martin started in left, made his home now in right. Tryon kind of did the same thing before making a home here at first base. In the air to center field off the bat of Jackson Willits. Dylan Schlegel makes the catch, and the inning is over. Leadoff walk, a race on a caught stealing. Chayton Krause will lead things off for the Patriots. It's Krause, Tryon, and Martin. Patriots trying to pull off the...
Let's get ready to step to the plate against Mason Bixby, the new pitcher. Isaac Williams goes an inning tonight. 3 runs, all came on that 3-run shot from Cooper Neville. A couple of hits, 2 walks, 3 punch-outs, and Mason Bixby, tall, lanky right-hander on the mound.
Yeah, for Bixby, he is a junior, 6'7", 239 pounds. A transfer from TCU, originally out of San Antonio, Texas. See the numbers there. He's got the 2nd highest ERA on the staff, 1-0 with a 7.04 ERA, making his 9th appearance of the season. You can see strikeouts have been high, walks have also been an issue. 11-9 in the 7 2/3 on the mound. And for Bixby, big tall righty, he's got a fastball that can get into the high 90s. He is, we're told, up to 98 at times this year. He's got a cutter as well as a changeup, and so it'll be Bixby who takes over for Isaac Williams, who gave up 3 runs in his inning. So DBU with a guy that has had some struggles at times this year on the mound. They've got the heart of their order coming up, and if they're going to make some noise, this would be a good time to do it. Down 6 with 6 outs to play.
This is a team that feasts off velocity, so you're hoping this runs right into their strength. That fastball, as you talk about, it gets up to about 98. He's going to use it almost 70% of the time.
You know, as you dig into Bixby's numbers as well, it's really been just 2 bad outings. He's given up a run in just 2 of his 8 outings this year. He gave up 4 runs without recording an out against Texas, and then gave up 2 runs in an inning against Texas A&M. That's it. Due to just the 7 2/3, the ERA is a bit inflated. There's Chayton Krause, 1 for 2 with a single and a walk. Mr. 200 picked up his 200th hit of his career back in inning number 1. Bounces this one to third, planted on the big hop. It's the new third baseman. Play is made, and there is the first out of the inning. Camden Johnson now over there at third base.
So move Kyle Branch came in the game at 2nd.
Brendan Brock is over in right field now. Desan Harris takes over in center field. And then, as you mentioned, Kyle Branch at 2nd. So, handful of changes here for Skip Johnson's ball club. As 0-1 to Ben Tryon. Singled back in the first inning, and time called, and LaChance and Bixby not on the same page. Yeah, for Bixby, 2 seasons at TCU, 13 appearances last year, 21 appearances in his career, and an ERA that was around 5 or so at TCU. A 4.5 ERA as a freshman, and then up to 5.89 as a sophomore. Made 1 start for the Horned Frogs last season. 3 of them his freshman year. So 21 appearances, 4 starts for Bixby in Fort Worth. Fires this one to Tryon, who hits it a mile high to left center field. Trey Gamble is there, he's got it. And Tryon is retired, and there's 2 away here for Bixby. Any thoughts of a rally, he's trying to quell that immediately, and it's going to be a 2-out uprising if the Patriots are going to do anything here in the 8th. It's Ryan Martin to lead it off. Martin's been on twice. The one time he wasn't, a double play ball that ended the first inning. DBU ends up, they had the bases loaded with 1 out. Martin's average up to .314 with his infield single in the 4th. He also walked and scored on the Cooper Neville 3-run home run in the 7th. Second on the team with 10 home runs, and he'll foul this one off.
That's a tough pitch there, 96. This comes in on the hands. Bixby's a tough to pick up. Fastball, then he offsets it with the cutter. That down action, he's long. He's probably on you pretty quick with that 6-7 frame.
Comes in with that fastball, and when they're at 93, and yeah, we're told, you know, 90, 80 he has gotten up to or can get up to, and imagine how much faster that has to look from a 6-7 frame.
Yeah.
It's like when Kyle Ament would throw a fastball, and he felt like he was halfway to first base when he let it, or halfway to the plate when he let it go. 1-2.
And his delivery is unique too. He hides the ball well, it seems like, in his delivery. He's not real long levers. I mean, he's got long arms, but when you watch him, how he hides that ball, and all of a sudden it's on you.
Marty hits it in the air to left field right at Trey Gamble, and he will make the catch. He makes the final 2 outs of the 8th inning. So DBU goes 1-2-3, and we're going to the 9th. Oklahoma, 6-run advantage here in Dallas.
Now, busy week coming up. You go on the road at Sam Houston. Friday, Saturdays on ESPN Plus. Sunday being told, I don't believe there is an ESPN Plus game, so catch us on the PBN on Sunday as Patriots and Bearcats 3-game series down in, it's not Fred Stillwell Baseball Stadium.
It's not.
It's Don Sanders.
I know that
You
stadium.
saw that, didn't you?
Know it well. Saw it immediately. It's like, if they change that without telling me, we're going to have a problem.
UTA on home on Tuesday. The place has been a house of horrors for the two of us at times in our broadcast
Really,
crew.
but you mentioned UTA. I know they're coming here, but Clay Gould and Don Sanders Stadium have been not necessarily where the Patriots haven't had success, but sometimes broadcasters have their wheels.
Not enough time to tell those stories. We're the 9th inning.
And not a dump button.
Heart of the order here for Oklahoma. Started with Trey Gamble. It's 1 for 4, make it 2 for 5. This could be another double here, where they have just racked up the doubles tonight. Ryan Martin is having all sorts of trouble picking that ball up.
I was saying because I thought that Gamble was coming around and hurt, but I think what happened is that that protective gear came off, and so he couldn't really run. He came up very, almost like he was limping to second base, but no, he appears to be just fine. It was just the equipment, and good news for Oklahoma. I don't know if we're going to get a look at him going around, but yeah, got the breaking ball, hammered it at 104 around the bases, but see as he comes around, you can see that starting to come undone, and this is what I saw. I saw him limping and thought, oh, dear.
Oh, no. We know what it's like to lose a guy in your heart of your order right now, the likes of Jake Ben and then Dylan Cupp.
Yeah, on seemingly innocuous plays.
6 doubles tonight for Oklahoma, 2 home runs. 8 of their 13 hits have gone for extra bases. This is Brendan Brock. What a night he's had. 3 for 4, a home run in the 3rd, a couple of RBIs. Came in hitting 281. He's up to 297.
Jared Jenkins also trying to go back-to-back scoreless. That outing that he had over the weekend was his first scoreless outing since opening day.
One of the most often used arms, the most often used arm on this staff throughout his career. It's his 56th career appearance.
Been that proverbial Swiss Army knife.
Yeah, he has. He's started 15 games in his career. This is his 41st relief appearance. He won't get it tonight unless something crazy happens in the 9th, but the next win for him is going to move him into the top 10 all-time in DBU baseball history. How about that? He'd be his 16th career win. 4 other guys to win 16 games. You had Luke Eldred, Craig Keckley, Dalton Higgins, and Michael Smith.
two of those relievers.
Yeah.
Well, I guess Higgins kind of split time. Reliever, and I guess really for the majority of his career, he did stay in that reliever. They tried him as a starter. So, yeah, 3 of the 4 would be relief pitchers.
Yeah, outside, yeah, Luke Elder is really the only starter.
The true starter.
That bunch.
I like the fastball from Jenkins tonight. We saw extra kick and velocity, but it feels like he's used it well.
Yeah, it plays up. I mean, 95, you offset that with a hammer curve. He's got a cutter that's in there as well. Out of Winchester, Virginia. Yeah, there's a nice off-speed offering. Cutter, about 87 right there from Jared. You show that fastball, and you can flip that cutter too. What's a good pitch?
Yeah, it really is. You know, the fastball, we had the strikeout at 95 miles an hour, and then that cutter here just falls away. And so first out, that looks like it's going to be the end of the line for Jared Jenkins.
His pitch count, that's only the 3rd strikeout tonight for this Patriot pitching staff. So to the bullpen, Jared Jenkins, done. Armani Knipper is coming on with the man at second, 1 out.
Hefner going to the bullpen here with 1 out in the top of the 9th inning. Solid work for Jared Jenkins today. Piggybacks off of Michael Benzer's solid outing. He goes 2 1/3, no runs, a hit, a walk, 2 strikeouts, throws 30 pitches, does leave with a runner at second base, and he'll turn the baseball over to Armani Knipper.
Yeah, Patriots junior here, 6.94 ERA, 11 2/3, 17 strikeouts. Opponents batting 132, and Armani is coming off probably maybe his best outing of his Patriot career. He struck out all 4 batters that he faced on Sunday against Kennesaw State. He was brilliant in that loss. In fact, came in a strange situation. That, again, we talk about big innings. This was as big and as crazy an inning we've seen all year. In the 7th inning, Patriots are up 4-0. This is just kind of how this year's gone. Up 4-0, you're on the verge of sweeping the series. Now, the umpiring crew had not been great for either side, and Ryan Coe had enough. And the first batter of that 7th inning, Aaron Posey, struck out. Ryan Coe went out with the intent to get ejected. He did not get ejected. Comes back to the dugout. It was almost like one of those assistant coaches said, "You got to go back." He immediately turns back around, heads back out there, and it's one of those old school, major league managerials, nose to nose. He's throwing his cap. He gets rung. Kennesaw State, the next 7 batters reached base. They had 6 straight hits, a walk. The go-ahead run, they score 5 runs. The go-ahead run comes into score on a wild pitch, and they win the ball game 5-4. It was absolutely bizarre.
Back-to-back weekends we've seen an opposing coach thrown out of a ball game.
But, it's a move that you see coaches do to light a fire when you're down and maybe all hope's lost. That was unreal. It literally ignited a fire within that team and within that crowd. Wasn't a great crowd that day, but boy, it just absolutely changed the feel of that ball game. Knipper came in after that 5th run scored, and he was the guy that you were looking for. He struck out 4 straight. Struck out the last batter of the 7th, or the last 2 batters of the 7th, and then struck out the side in the 8th. He's got an unorthodox delivery, that high leg kick. Fastball, he'll run it up there about 96. The leg kick's high, but it's even higher when you don't have a runner on base. Right now, a runner at second. Deshaun Harris is the batter. Came in defensively in the bottom of the 8th. Patriots, and they're having the 9th, will have Schlegel, Hall, Neville. You're just hoping for guys to get on, and then you're hoping to get back around to Krause and Tron. If you get around to those guys, then there's a chance. Long ways to go, though. Deshaun Harris is making him work. 2-2. To Harris, who grew up just north of here in Plano, went to Plano East High School. Had a career year last year. He hit .313. This year, he's had his share of struggles. Batting average, I mean, it's respectable, 294, but he's just, right now, just 2 for his last 15.
And he's really been relegated to coming off the bench. This is his 27th game of the season. 21 of those he has come off the bench for Oklahoma this season.
Yeah, he only has 34 at-bats. Knipper trying to put him away. There it is. Swung through and missed. 86 on the splitter that time. Either that or a cutter from Knipper, and there's 2 out.
Yeah, it's more of a
splitter, yeah. That downward action. It's a pitch that he developed over the fall. He's relied more on the cutter, but well, that's a good splitter.
The way Oklahoma was swinging it through 5, I didn't think there was any way they were going to still be stuck at 9 here in the 9th.
Yeah.
And they had that 9-0 lead midway through.
This is not an offense that scores runs at necessarily an alarming rate. 7 runs a game. Now, take that for what it's worth. I mean, they're seeing some of the top pitching in the country every week in the SEC. 278 average as a club. They came out swinging it early tonight. Good job by Bergholt. Bergie work.
Still working back there.
With chance into right center field, will be Martin there. He's got it. Yeah, great work tonight by the bullpen from Benzer, Jenkins, and Knipper. So it's a 6-run deficit. Patriots coming up here in the bottom of the 9th. Patriots got down 9-0 tonight. 3-run homer from Cooper Neville has made it a 9-3 ball game. We're going to the bottom of the 9th. Hogan Nelson's got a helmet on that dugout. Tells you the young freshman's going to get a crack at it here at some point. Jude Hall. More than likely you're going to see Hall, Neville. I would think Nelson, maybe that number 9 spot, possibly. We'll see. Here is Schlegel to start things off. Mason Bixby's on the mound. Down 6. Bixby, the TCU transfer. Well, he answered the call. You know, this thing could have gotten interesting there in the 8th. If Patriots scratch a couple of runs there in the 8th inning, got a puncher's chance. You've still got a mountain to climb in the 9th. So here is Schlegel.
Yeah, looking in the dugout, trying to figure out who Hogan Nelson might hit for. Adam Bergholt still has a bat, still has a helmet on.
It's interesting. I don't know.
We'll see.
Schlegel hitless tonight, trying to extend his 5-game hit streak. A great pitch there. They call that a cutter for him. It's got down action for Bixby.
Look at this day and age, cutter, slider,
splitter. I mean,
yeah, hard to tell the difference.
That one, oh my goodness.
That's more of a traditional cutter, I think.
Right. And it says on the report that it's a downer. It's got some down action. You think about that pitch that Ermani threw. He's got a cutter and a splitter, but that really did have the look almost like a Ryan Borberg type splitter that he threw. Boy, that's impressive from Bixby.
Yeah, some guys will call a cutter, it looks more like a sweeper. Some would call it a cutter, it looks more like a slider. Sometimes it is just the moving fastball.
Call it what you want, right? It was a really good pitch. He executed it.
And I think what you're seeing from Bixby is those numbers a bit deceiving because he's got some really good stuff. And as we said, it's just 2 rough outings for him this season.
This is where Oklahoma is going to be dangerous as you get into the postseason. If you're going to win in regionals, you've got to have the arms. If you just look at it, they've got the arms to be able to make a run at. Come at you in a lot of different ways. Guys that don't walk a lot, they're in the zone. Good stuff. They wanted that one. And they've hit half the batters that DBU has. They've hit 36. Two and 2 to Hall after he got down 0-2. Could not hold on that one. 2 punch outs for Bixby to start the 9th.
And both of them have been on that nasty cutter, slider, whatever. But that is a ton of movement, and Hall didn't recognize it until too late and ends up going about 80% around.
Cooper Neville has the biggest hit of the night for DBU. 3-run blast. That was in the 7th. The only really bright spot offensively tonight for DBU. He gets behind at 0-1. Oklahoma trying to win for the 22nd time. Get to 22-10. Patriots would fall to 18-15. Bixby trying to go 6 up, 6 down and close this one out. It's the guy that has the second, the numbers are deceiving as you talk about. Second highest ERA on the staff is just unreal when you see what this guy's doing. The stuff that he's got.
A live fastball with a really nasty secondary pitch.
The only other ERA that's higher is Jaden Barfield. He's not, Jaden Barfield's a talented sophomore. He's only thrown in 5 1/3 innings. He started against DBU back in early March and threw an inning. Bixby knows what he wants here at 1-2. And he got it. That's the ball game. And he strikes out the side in the 9th to do it in impressive fashion. He should smile. But what an outing for him. 6 up, 6 down. Sooners win it 9-3 tonight over DBU. And a tough one that was for the Patriots. You go back to the double play ball tonight in the first inning, and it just seemed like, the base loaded, momentum, double play ball, and the game turned.
Yeah, and unfortunately you end up losing this one in those early innings, and that that double play ball, and then a couple innings later you give up the 5 spot. And from the 6th inning on, you got great pitching from Benzer and then Jared Jenkins and Armani Knipper, but just could not dig yourself out of the hole against a really good ball club in Oklahoma.
Now the Patriots with the loss, now 18-15. Oklahoma 22-10. It's going to do it for us here in Dallas. For Alexis De La Garza, my broadcast partner Brendan Smith, as well as our entire crew, I'm Reagan Ratcliffe saying good night and God bless from Dallas, Texas. All games airing on the ESPN networks are streaming live and archived on the ESPN app. This has been a presentation of ESPN.